Hi there, everyone, and welcome to this week's Akashic Soul Wisdom Show, where I'm so delighted to be introducing you all to the lovely Romy Carr. And we are going to be talking about how important it is to say yes to yourself for compassionate leadership. And so for those of you that are new to the group, welcome. We're delighted to have you here. We are a group of wonderful soul-inspired leaders who really want to have a bigger impact in the world. And if you don't know me, I'm Natasha Harris, and I support conscious business owners to really stand in their soul power and supporting the planet through the work that they do and having a bigger impact using the wisdom of the Akashic records. So, but this isn't about me. This is all about welcoming you to Romy. And welcome, Romy, and please do introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and what you do.
Hi, so I have been working in this field for about 5 years, having trained in energy psychology, and I am a self-esteem and confidence coach and therapist, and I support people in connecting with themselves deeper and removing any blocks that might stop them flourishing in their either personal life or work, and everything stems from the level of our self-worth.
Yes,
and reflects in our thoughts, in our actions, in what we allow other people, how they behave towards us, what we might ask for or not. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and look forward to sharing my stuff with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it because it's really fascinating, and we've known each other for quite some years, probably 5 or 6 years now, through various networks that we've been involved in. And I'm really curious to know a little bit about how you got to be doing this work, and especially about something that really sparks my curiosity about how you blend science and spirituality and how you kind of ended up doing the wonderful work you do.
Yes, I must say that is my passion, bringing the two together. So I actually first started working in corporate world, and only when I worked in the city in London in an investment bank, so I have an experience of that world. And then after I became a mother, I've got 2 kids who are 17 and 19. And I stopped working and then wondered what I do with myself. Wanted to become a chiropractor, out of all things. As a child, I wanted to be a doctor, but anyway, I never got to it.
Yeah.
I was studying chiropractic, thinking I can do it with 2 toddlers. What was I thinking? It's like, studying medicine part-time, which is not really possible. Burned out very quickly. Then got onto massage, which actually at the same time got me onto Reiki and energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pursuing both the scientific bit as well as the spiritual side of things, and then subsequently trained in other energy healing techniques. And then unrelated, set up a business selling some glass jewelry, which was homemade from Czech Republic, because I'm Czech, having been here in this country for 28 years now. And that brought me to working with people and the color and style. So then I trained in image consultancy, but working, which is a wonderful thing to do, because it supports people in how they feel about themselves. However, it's not a surface thing. Wearing your clothes does make you feel in a certain way. When you know what works for you is even better.
Yes.
Nevertheless, working with people in that way really highlights their self-doubt. For some, I worked mostly with women. I did work with some men, but even just sitting in front of a mirror, looking at themselves in the mirror, brings up a lot of insecurities and issues that people have.
Yeah.
So it made me even more curious about what's behind that. And so I then came across EFT, which people may have heard of. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping, which is sometimes referred to as acupuncture with hot needles, because we use specific tapping on points. So what the beauty about that is the energy psychology combination. And that is when you bring the science and spirituality together, because you're accessing what sits in the body in terms of trauma, any negative beliefs that hold us back, which we have formed already in childhood.
Yeah.
And so by connecting the mind and the body together, you're able to access the centers in the brain that are related to that and release it.
Yeah, it's so powerful, EFT. I've done a couple of sessions with you, and I remember I had a very powerful shift with about my relationship with my father at the time, and it was just something so unexpected because I have a good relationship with him anyway. And so just that something subtle that came up for me, it was just so profound. It was incredible.
And you know, actually, I still it's a work for a lifetime. I don't want to say I'm afraid.
No.
It's just, you know, once we can release layer after layer, it is like an onion. You take one layer off and another one comes up. But what you gain is that people always, after every session, report the feeling of being lighter. You get these aha moments, those we call them cognitive shifts. These realizations, it's like connecting the dots, and then you've released yourself of a lot of baggage that we carry on behalf of our family as a result of our upbringing, as a result of any traumatic experiences we might have experienced up until now. But what really forms us as we are is the childhood.
Yeah.
But as members of your group being soul inspired leaders, they want to start by me talking about the past lives and karma, which is all part of us. You know, I love the expression, there is no past. No. It's always here acting through us.
Oh, say that again. That's just giving me chills.
I know, there is no past. It is always here acting through us.
Wow, that's so powerful. My whole body has just gone tingly hearing you say that, because that is so true. And when we just that reframing or that understanding of seeing that it's still playing through us, it's right here. Yeah, wow, that's really powerful. Thank you for that. That's really given me a massive insight into how this all plays out. Thank you. Wow.
So what I'm going to talk about today mainly is resolving our family issues, and especially with our parents. Because compassion, talking about compassionate leadership, if we are not compassionate with ourselves and those closest to us, how can we be compassionate with others? And guess what? Being compassionate with our family members or partners is the hardest thing.
Yes. Yes, those closest to us, they trigger us the most.
And you know why? Because we have expectations. We think, well, they must know who I am and what I feel. Don't you know? And they do this. How can you do that to me? Don't you know me enough?
Yeah.
People cannot read our mind, even if they know us, even if they are the closest. And often, you know, depending on how childhood was, and there are some unfortunate circumstances that people have suffered at the hands of their parents. But what I'm going to talk about today is that, again, this is one of those phrases that is a very useful one to hold. We always do the best at the time with what we know then. If we could do better, we would have done it. And the same applies to our parents. And recognizing the fact that our parents only project what they received from their parents. And so it goes back many lifetimes. And it is received genetically, energetically. This is again where the spirituality and science come together. And so
that information energetically within our genetics.
Yes. And you probably have all heard about epigenetics.
Yes, fascinating, mind-blowing.
I know.
Like boom, mind blown.
Just to explain a little bit is that we might have a predisposition for certain diseases or traits from our lineage, from both parents, either side. But it only depends on the circumstances in our life, whether they get triggered and manifested. And guess what? The beauty is that we all have a choice.
Yes. Talk about that.
We all have a choice to free ourselves, but we can only do that when we are aware of what's there. Okay, so I often mention these 3 important steps in any process. That is awareness, acceptance, and adjustment.
That's powerful as well.
Okay. First, we need to become aware of what's present in our family history. Because often, I tell you, every family has stuff.
Yeah.
It's just life.
That's life. Yeah. We gotta go with it. Yeah.
By exploring your family tree, even if you go only as far as your great-grandparents, and find out how they were, what went on in their life. Of course, we also have to bear in mind the time that they lived in, what was going on at the time, World War Wars.
Yes. Times changed so much.
Of course, and the beliefs that were also created because of that era. So it's the collective consciousness that we are all plugged into, whether we know it or like it or not. Yeah. It is part of us.
Yep, we can't deny that.
Depending where you are born, also into which country, which from the soul point of view, we choose to be born to the place, to the parents, because of the lessons that we are yet to receive as a soul, to have the potential to release and heal.
Yeah.
And it's actually, it might sound complicated, but it's very simple.
Yes. Yes, it can seem so complex, but actually when we break it down into parts, it is actually quite simple. And if we can work through bit by bit and know that it's a journey, that it's like, as you say, peeling back the onion, there is no quick route, there's no like quick shortcut, it's the journey. But actually when we break it down, it actually doesn't have to be so complex and so hard. It's like it can be challenging, but it's like we can break it down bit by bit.
Yes, the important point is that you cannot do this work alone. And I'm not just saying it because I do it. You go and find other people. But honestly, we are not objective enough to see what's in us.
Yeah.
And you can't see it because you are it.
Yeah. Yes. I know. It's so funny, isn't it? And I know that as well for myself, that when I work with my business coach or my coach and she reflects something back to me and I'm like, how can I not see that? I do this all day, every day. How could I possibly not see that? It's just so obvious. And it's just like
this is the thing. It is obvious when you become aware of it.
Yes.
I still work on myself and always will be with other people.
Always.
And even working with clients, I always get insights about myself too.
Mm-hmm.
Because inevitably, we tend to attract people that we resonate with on some levels.
Yeah.
And it can be that we share some issues from the past that actually resonate, which is why we are able to offer some support even better, because we've been through it ourselves.
Exactly. It's so true, isn't it? And so how does the acceptance piece then, I guess that really ties in with the compassionate stuff, right? Being kind to ourselves is the acceptance element of it.
Yes. In fact, acceptance can be the hardest step. We are all great judges of ourselves. We judge others as well. In fact, judgment itself is the complete opposite to compassion.
Yeah.
And the reason we judge other people and ourselves because we don't feel good enough.
Yeah.
And the people who judge the most actually judge themselves the most.
Yeah.
And probably feel unworthy the most.
Yeah.
Which again probably stems from, not probably, but for sure, stems from childhood and programming from our parents. Yeah. Those guys who did the best they could.
Yeah.
Even if at the time it didn't feel like so.
Yeah.
And even themselves, they might now feel, why did I say that? Why did I do that? I do it as a parent myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I wish I had my kids after all this work I've done, but I would still have passed on some stuff which I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
That's just, I think, part of the human condition.
Yeah.
Because if we were, what is perfect anyway, about 26.
Yeah, that's another whole nother topic, right?
Yeah. You wouldn't be born.
No.
There would be no more karma to clear.
Yeah.
And karma sometimes people feel as a punishment. But it comes around for us to see, become aware. What is the message? What is here for me to clear?
Yeah.
Which again is not always obvious to the self.
No, but it's a great opportunity, isn't it? It's such an opportunity for growth and expansion, and getting to know ourselves and who we are and what we want to show of ourselves.
Yes, and you know, especially if you're a leader or a teacher of a sort, or want to inspire another, being a coach or leading any other person, you will have to have done the work first for yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't do it. You can do it, but not very effectively and not very honestly.
Yeah.
So it's really finding accountability for the self first.
Yeah.
It is not always comfortable or easy because of some dark stuff that might have happened either to us or within the family.
Yeah.
But so this work is like releasing the chains around our ankles.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to climb up this hill of progression, success, and what have you. If you imagine this picture of this person going up a hill, and yet he's dragging these huge balls around his ankle, slowing him down.
Yeah.
And listen, we all do it.
Yeah. Still doing it.
So, you know, just stop for a bit.
Yeah.
Look at what's around your ankles, accept it's there, become aware of it, and then release it because you can, because you have a choice.
Yes, and that's so important, isn't it? It's knowing that we have that choice in doing, you know, in whatever step we take, whether that's to stay where we are or to move forward, or as you say, adjustment. You know, it's like we have that choice. We are choosing to stay where we are and not release it, or we're choosing to look at it and work through the challenge of it and step through it to something new and wonderful on the other side.
Yes. So, you know, any seemingly negative behavior or self-sabotage can be a hidden secondary gain, as it's called, or sometimes psychological reversal. So let's say you come and do the work or any form of healing, if you like, or any other course to progress, and yet you stay in the same place. Well, it could be that you want to actually unconsciously keep yourself there because it serves a purpose. So it's a form of coping mechanism. So even if people come to a healer, if you like, the healer cannot heal you until you allow it.
Yeah, we have to be in a space
and
of
so
allowance.
some people like to keep themselves ill because it's the only time they get attention and love from others, which is what they yearn for because they never received it from their parents, for example. And so this whole exercise is not about criticizing anybody or blame, but it's about understanding what's there. It's about looking into the shadow that we are often scared of, but just see it for what it is and gain a deeper understanding why it's there. And find ways to let go of it.
Yes. And it's, as you say, it's not so easy, but it's when we break it down and we get the support and we know that we're at choice, that we can really start to step into this and to create that movement and those adjustments to doing things. So how do you start and begin to accept yourself? Like, what is it that you kind of recommend to your clients around starting to look at or starting to do differently that allows you to start saying yes to you?
Well, we do it through the process that I work with, which is the EFT, but I also use processes along the lines of family constellations, family energetics, where you explore the whole family system, because you don't exist outside of it. You are very, very strongly connected to it. You receive everything from it, including the wisdom, the talents, and the positive traits. It's not all about negative, but of course, people only come for help when they feel stuck. And so that is what we look at and identify exactly what it is. You know, even relationship with your siblings and how your parents treated you within that. So whether you are the firstborn or the middle or the last one, you will have all experienced your childhood differently.
Yes. Yeah.
So fascinating,
so much
because
with my friends that have children.
Okay, so first one has all the attention of their parent.
Yeah.
The second one comes around. The parent is a bit knackered and has to look after the older one as well.
Yeah.
So the second one can feel a bit neglected.
Yeah.
Or, and so they form a belief already as a child, or even actually, I will go even back in time into pregnancy. And let me give you another interesting fact.
Love your facts.
So, especially as a woman, so I will say this twice probably because it might be a bit difficult to comprehend in one go. When your grandmother was pregnant with your mother,
yes,
your mother had all the eggs in her by the time she was 5 months old and child in her tummy, in her mother's womb. You are one of those eggs.
Oh my goodness, that blows my mind. Yes.
So you will have experienced your grandmother's emotions, what was going on in that time in her relationship, in the country, in the world, that is passed down to her child, which is your mother. And then you are one of those eggs, bringing all of that with you.
That's so incredible, just to grasp that we already existed a generation ago, like in some format, in some energetic format.
Energetic format, exactly. Then obviously you're born. So the birth itself is really important, and how it was for you and your mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another area that can be worked on if it was really traumatic.
Yeah.
Birth in itself is a traumatic experience. Coming to the world, it's actually, being squeezed through the birth canal, even if you're a C-section baby.
Yeah.
There is a trauma involved to a degree, and that can be cleared. And then, as to your upbringing and what was going on for you, how your parents' relationship was with each other.
Yeah.
Because already as a baby, even you're not verbal, you're already absorbing all of the energies around you.
Yeah.
Then obviously how the parents treat you, how they treat your sibling or siblings.
All interconnected and intertwined.
It's one long thread. And then, let alone past life and the Akashic record.
We'll leave that to the side for another conversation.
But, we already carry traits from our past lives that we are born with.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we choose the scenarios to be born into that give us the opportunity to resolve what needs to be cleared.
Yeah.
And it just depends where you want to come in, at which point in that soul's lifetime. And I also want to say at this point, because it all sounds pretty negative.
No, it's fascinating.
There is a part of our soul that can never get harmed.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it always really helps to look at things from a slightly higher perspective and elevate and look at what's happened from that viewpoint, because that in itself can bring more compassion in and understanding and acceptance.
Yeah.
Because from the soul's point of view, that's also our choice.
Yeah.
And look, I know it might sound flippant to some people who have been through some really difficult times in their lives or childhood. But trust me, I have worked with this with many people over the years, and everyone always comes out, everyone who's open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can even just, explore what the blocks to the openness it might be. And once that's gone, things can flow easier through us.
Yeah.
And we can let go much, much easier.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And what's really coming through from this conversation is that the compassionate element to ourselves really is in that awareness and that understanding that, it is this long thread of things that we are bringing with us, and this element of that we have choice. And even at a soul level, we have we have made choices to come into the experience that we are experiencing in this lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's not to negate it, but it's to allow ourselves to understand that with compassion and love for ourselves, so that we can put ourselves into a space of healing, of getting some support around it, so that we can stand up and become more compassionate leaders. And I think that's what I'm really, really taking away from our conversation today, is that, you know, we do need to have this broader perspective and understanding of what we are bringing to everything that we're experiencing, and how we choose to take that forward to become more compassionate to ourselves, and then more compassionate to everyone we meet. This has been truly fascinating. I'm just really aware of time, because my gosh, there are so many different tangents.
I know.
So many questions. Maybe I can just ask this one, or just ask this one, but maybe we'll come back to this at another time in the future to it, Romy, because this is truly fascinating. And it's really, I mean, doing this work myself as well, it's just allowed, I don't know, the way you've just explained that, it's just broadened that even further for me. So thank you. And I hope that anyone watching, I know there are a few people watching, I did forget to say that if you have questions or comments, please write them in the chat box. Even if it's afterwards, Romy and I will come back to it, and we will answer your questions. If you've got thoughts, or this is bringing up some stuff for you, please do share it here, because we'd be delighted to kind of come back and support you in some way, or to answer any questions. If you're watching the replay, obviously type #replay and do tag either one of us. But I know, Romy, you've also got something really lovely that you want to share with the community here. For coming here as well.
Yes, I'm going to share a couple of documents, one is just a general overview of what we have just talked about. The other one is a potential, it's just lining up a graph of your family, going to great-grandparents and exploring for yourself, finding out who they were, what their lives were like, what their diseases were, any addictions, any death, suicide, or murder, or something like that. That will all color, you know, who we are and what's in the family energy system. The other thing I was going to recommend is a couple of books, if I may.
Yes.
So you might be aware of The 4 Agreements by...
Oh, I love that book. Thank you for bringing that one up.
By Miguel Ruiz, and that is just a fantastic self-help, really eye-opening book. That it's a book for life, that actually, even if you read it in some time, you will have changed a bit if you're able to follow it. It's very thin, it's very common sense, but it's not so easy to practice.
Yes, as in most things.
I really recommend it. And another fascinating book, which covers some of this, is called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallin.
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
Inherited family trauma shapes who we are and how to end the cycle.
Wow.
So I will put a link to that below. And there's some wonderful healing sentences at the end that I use in my practice, but you can also work with yourself. Yeah. It's not as easy for yourself, but it's doable.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So we will put all those, anyone watching, we will put all those links and the documents that Romy is going to share with you guys as well. So you can go away, do some exercises. But finally, Romy, just do tell us how we can, if anyone is interested in working with you, getting in touch with you, how can they do that?
So you can go onto my Facebook page, Transform Inside and Out, which I will send a link to, or email me or give me a call. And I always offer a free chat to anybody to explore what the work entails and the commitment that there is to it. And if we gel together, also it's important because it's very deep work. And so we need to make sure that, you know, you trust me and all of that. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
So so head over to Romy's Facebook page, and we'll put the link to that as well in the post. So watch out for all those links. And again, as I said, any questions at all, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for coming to join me and talk to me about this fascinating, truly fascinating topic. I feel that this has kind of broadened my area of curiosity. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I will see you all again next week here live in the group. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. we are here live talking about other fascinating topics. So bye for now, everybody.
Bye now. Bye.